That's the biggest elephant in the room. And, you don't address an elephant by ignoring it. So let's talk zoning, right? And I mean, I think also, you don't eat an elephant in one sitting either. So, all things being equal, we would love to see a zoning code that is extremely permissible. And I think that has to happen in steps. So what does the zoning code in Illinois look like? Illinois has the second strictest land use regulation in the Midwest. And
Yeah.
the Midwest comparison is really helpful because sometimes national, right? Like developers, they can invest in Florida or Texas instead. But if you look at, say, geography, right? You can look at Wisconsin and Minnesota and Iowa and Indiana, et cetera. And then you can say, well, like, do any of these regulations for land use have anything to do with geography? And when Illinois is the second most regulated, and I think the worst, this is maybe data from 2 years ago, I think the worst might have been Minnesota, but with those reforms I talked about, Illinois might be, when the new data come out from this particular research institution, Illinois might be the worst. So it's not weather, it's not geography. It's a choice that policymakers make, and that is to make it hard to build. And a lot of that has to do with zoning policy and other land use regulations. So Illinois is highly restrictive, and Chicago in particular is restrictive. So 41% of Chicago is single family only. Now, do we necessarily want to see 40 building high rises go up in small neighborhoods? No. And what would be a good way to maintain the character of the community? Well, you could allow 2, 3, or 4 flats by right, so that instead of building a single family home, you could build a 3-unit building. I live in a 3 flat, and that still maintains the character of the community. I live in Wrigleyville, and building looks totally fine. Or that could be a 6 or 8 bedroom huge home, and so zoning is a big issue. This is something that localities control. There is the option for states to get involved. We would rather see this adjudicated at the local level. And, if things are still this way in a couple of years, then it's a conversation of whether folks down at Springfield, elected officials, if they might want to consider being more involved, because when housing is unaffordable, people leave those communities and sometimes even leave those states. So there aren't ever any simple fixes in the public policy process, and you have to assess which problem is bigger. And for us, breakdown of communities and housing unaffordability are enormous issues.